What is good, my dudes? I hope everything good with you and everything good with me. Oh, I can't speak English. It's been a while since I recorded one of these videos once again because I've had a giganto backlog of cybersecurity videos that I've been just editing and posting over time. I've been kind of lacking recently, not gonna lie. Haven't really been studying so much, took my foot off the accelerator because, big announcement, I have started doing a degree in digital and technology solutions, brackets, cybersecurity, which has been taking up a bit more of my outside of work time, so I just haven't had the opportunity to record really. But I don't want to make excuses because I need this CCT-INF, man. I gotta get it this year, or at least I gotta sit it for the first time this year. So, waffle out the way, today we're going to be doing Included, which is the third to last starting point machine in Tier 2 on HackTheBox. Let go. Doing a little bit of an experiment so I can get these videos out a bit quicker and focus more on, you know, the actual hacking and stuff instead of just the editing side of things. So I've made everything absolutely gigantic. It is about as big as my dad has his text on his phone, and I have a 27-inch monitor. So we should be fine. Let me know in the comments if things are still too small and I will make them even bigger. But I don't want to have to do all this cutting, zooming in, apart from face cam, you know, when I'm just talking like this is fine. But yeah, just let me know. Okay, so we're gonna get going. We have Included. Let's get onto the VPN. Oh wait, big announcement. I have a new PC, which means I do not have any of my VPN files. So I'm gonna download those right now. So first mistake of the video, I actually managed to download my lab VPN rather than my starting point VPN. So let's just try that again. So we're going to do mv./downloads, starting point Jamo. I thought that was wrong, and then we're just going to bring it here. Oh, hold on, missed a space. There we go. So open VPN, and then we're going to do starting point Jamo. Okay, so we're all good. Let me just move my microphone because it is in front of my screen and I cannot see. Okay, so we're good. Let's do this. Right, we're connected to the VPN, which means we can spawn the box. Okay, let me just make sure. I don't want to spawn Unified. That was the last video's box. I want to spawn Included. Let's go. Question number 1. What service is running on the target machine over UDP? Easy question. We just do nmap, the IP address, and then -su, I believe, for UDP. And then we do T4, and that'll get us going. We'll scan all the top 1000 most common UDP ports, and we'll see what is open. I am feeling a bit rusty, I won't lie. It took me a second to remember that scanning UDP was SU, and not just -u or something like that. Gosh, I really need to get into this. See, the problem is at work, it's just been back to back to back to back to back web application pen tests. So my infrastructure skills are getting a bit, ooh. Maybe I should consider going for the CCT app, but I am stubborn. So I'm going to still do the CCT-INF. Because I prefer pen testing infrastructure, I find it a bit more interesting. But yeah, that's just where we're at. I'll get back up to speed fairly quickly, I imagine. You know, it's like riding a bike. So, while we are waiting for that nmap scan to finish, let's just have a look at question number 2. What class of vulnerability is the web page that is hosted on port 80 vulnerable to? Okay, so we're going to do nmap and then the IP address just because I want to see what ports are open. It's just port 80. Let's have a look. So let me make this into a different thing actually. So what class of vulnerability is it vulnerable to? Straight off the bat, I'm looking at this URL, I'm seeing file is equal to home.php. I'm guessing it's local file inclusion. And let's just check. It is local file inclusion. Very nice. Okay, so let's look back at our nmap scan. No luck just yet, still going, but I'm guessing, based on question number 3, it's probably going to be TFTP. Question number 3, what is the default system folder that TFTP uses to store files? I don't know that off the top of my head, so we're going to have to Google it. TFTP default file location. Let's see if we get that. TFTP boot is installed here. It's a default directory for the TFTP. Contents can be viewed directly from an SSH session. Yep, it seems to be varlib TFTP boot. Let's see if that's correct. It is indeed. Okay, so question number 4. Which interesting file is located in the web server folder and can be used for lateral movement? Well, let us have a look. So, what I'm thinking is maybe we want to chuck a PHP shell into that TFTP boot folder and then have a poke around once we have our shell working You know, maybe we get a reverse shell from our web shell, and we'll go from there. So let's have a try. Right, and also, you know, before we do that, let's just check on our nmap scan. UDP takes absolutely ages to scan. Let's just keep moving. So we know we have local file inclusion based on this URL here, and we want to put something in this TFTP folder, and then we want to call to it from the web application, and that should get us our shell. So the steps. First step, we've got to figure out how to connect to TFTP. I'm guessing it's just TFTP. Like the command is just called TFTP, but I'm going to Google it anyway. To TFTP, do a bit of search. How to connect to TFTP Kali. TFTP HPA, and also, do you know what? Let me, oops, that was silly. How to connect to TFTP Kali. Right, let's put it up a little bit so you guys can see exactly what I'm searching. So, TFTP HPA, okay, so it's just TFTP, easy enough. Let's give it a try, so we're just going to, force habit there, TFTP that, let's see what we have, ls, invalid command, no. Don't know what I'm doing here. Quit. Let me out. Let's have a bit more of a look at this -h. I should just be able to TFTP to it. One of the less common protocols in the thing is trivial file transfer protocol related to FTP. What commands have you got for me, my friend? We have that. That's fine. This is how to use it. Here we go. TFTP server1 get config.file. What's the put command? Oh, okay, upload a file. Alright, so it seems that our command is going to look something like this. Let me just show you really quickly. TFTP, the IP address put, oh, hold on, actually, let me just make the /box, cd /box. So it seems our command is going to look something like this. TFTP, IP address put, and then the file will go right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my terminal like a fancy guy, and I'm going to make it bigger again because that was really, you know, it was small then. And we're going to mousepad, and we're going to do shell.php. So now we have a PHP file ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab basic PHP web shell, just from anywhere on the internet, doesn't really matter which one. This one is one I keep coming back to though, so, you know, first result on Google, it's got to be a good one. And now we've created this shell.php file that has this PHP shell in it. I'm going to close it down, and I'm going to put shell.php onto the box. Does that work? It doesn't. Okay, so I guess I've done something wrong. No, verbose isn't going to save this. What am I doing wrong? That was not helpful at all. Maybe man TFTP can shed some light. Trivial file transfer protocol client, that's what we want. We want TFTP options host port C command. Okay, so what are our options? Uses the prompt TFTP, recognizes the following commands. Okay. Okay, so, I'm gonna try it in like the command line way. So, oh, TFTP to, whoops, what happened there? So I actually need our IP address for the box. This is already getting a bit messy, but I am gonna clean it up in the editing. TFTP, right there. Connect to the IP address. Put shell.php. Quit. Did that work? Usually there's some kind of confirmation. Doesn't matter. Let's see if we can find it in this local file inclusion. And what was our folder called? var lib tftp boot. Okay, so var lib tftp boot /shell.php. Did it work? It worked. Okay, so I'm really not too sure which command worked there, but I'm guessing it was this one because we just did TFTP, then the IP address. We did connect, which I probably didn't need to do, let's be honest. And then I just did put shell.php and quit. I didn't get any kind of confirmations, which is quite strange. But our shell has been uploaded to the server, so that is completely fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to get a reverse shell because they're just a bit more interactive. So I'm going to make a new tab, make it bigger again, and this is where I'm going to put my netcat listener. So I'm going to do LNVP. It doesn't really matter what order you do those in. NVLP, you know, whatever you want to do it. NVLP, and then the port number we want to have our connection back on. And then I'm going to go to revshells.com, I think it is. Yeah. And I'm going to put in my IP address, which is 10.10.14.2. And this is our port we want to connect back on. And this is the command that we want to run in this right here. So bash-c, and then chuck our command in there. And hopefully we get a reverse shell. Does it work first try? No, it does not. That is annoying. Okay, we'll try again. We will try again. No. Okay, so our request is not actually going where we want it to go. That is the problem. Right, so we want to send our request. Maybe we'll just modify the HTML. I know this is really not what you want to be doing, but we want our request to actually go here. There we go. So now when we submit this form, the command is actually going to go to the shell itself and not just to index.php. So let's try that. No luck. Okay. But like, why is it not working? Maybe instead of a PHP web shell, we do a PHP reverse shell. And we just upload that. Yeah, that's the smart thing to do, actually. Let me just go back. So we've got our PHP reverse shell. We're going to do mousepad. Make this bigger. Mousepad revshell.php. Okay, so we are now making a reverse shell. This might be a bit small for you. I'm hoping it's not, but if it is, just it just shouldn't be. So I've just went and grabbed a reverse shell from Google, PHP reverse shell from Google, and now I'm going to modify it. I'm going to try and get this to run on the server. See if I need to do anything special. I don't think I do. I think I just need to change those two values for the port and the IP address, and then it should be all good. I am then going to head back to where I was connecting via TFTP, and I'm going to run the same command again. So I'm going to do... Actually, let's just see if we're connected. I'm going to do put revshell.php, and now I'm going to go to the file server, and I'm going to see if I can find revshell.php, and then make sure I've got a listener running. I do. I am going to just see if I connect, and there we go, we have a shell. So what happened there was I was just trying to be fancy, use a web shell, get my own reverse shell. Didn't need to be done. You can just go and grab a rev shell off of Google and then stick it wherever you would have stuck the web shell, and it'll work the exact same. And now I have a fully interactive shell. Well, I don't know if it's fully interactive, but I do have a reverse shell on the box. So now I can move this over here and we can start answering question number 4. I just want to check, did this nmap scan ever complete? Oh, we would have been there for ages. Question number 4. Which interesting file is located in the web server folder and can be used for lateral movement? Let's have a look. So we want to go to our shell and we want to cd to /var/www, and yeah, inside of HTML is where that kind of stuff lives. And it seems to be a file that starts with a dot, so what we want to do to see that is lsla, and here we go. We have .htaccess and .htpassword, both very interesting files. The one we're going to want to have a look at is .htpassword, I'm pretty sure. And there you go. So .htpassword was the answer to question number 4. So, question number 5. What is the group that the user mic is a part of and can be exploited for privilege escalation? Let's have a look. So let's just do some Googling real quick. How to see what groups, Linux groups a user is in. Groups username, so groups mic. Mike is in LXD, and that is his only group, so it's got to be LXD. Question number 6. When using an image to exploit a system via containers, we look for a very small distribution. Our favorite for this task is named after mountains. What is that distribution name? I just know this because I've done a similar privilege escalation in the past, and this is called Alpine Linux. Very small Linux distro. I think it's in the order of megabytes actually, so very, very small. But just for myself, I want to search up what LXD actually is. So what is LXD Linux? Let's have a look. LXD, Linux Container Daemon, is a tool that manages Linux containers and virtual machines. It provides a unified platform for running and managing full Linux distros with containers or virtual machines. According to Canonical and Ubuntu documentation, LXD simplifies the process of deploying and managing these isolated environments, offering a user-friendly interface to virtual machines, but with the efficiency of containers. That sounds kind of similar to Docker, which I know what Docker is, so I'm just going to lock that answer in my head. LXD is similar to Docker. So, question number 7. What flag do we set to the container so that it has root privileges on the host system? Right, so this is going to be related to our privilege escalation. So we're going to figure out this LXD privilege escalation just based on what we can find. So we have a nice write-up here by Aman Chauhan. I hope I haven't butchered your name, my friend. In this write-up, we're going to cover the privilege escalation of a member of the... Okay, bloody hell, I can't read. In this write-up, we will cover how a member of a local LXD group can instantly escalate privileges to root on the host operating system. That sounds like exactly what we want. So, first you're going to run the ID command to check whether you are in the LXD group or not. And to do that, I want to first make my shell better. So I'm going to do Python. Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Let me start again. Python 3-c import pty.spawn /bin/bash. Okay, good, happy. Now we have a better thing. We can see that with www data. If I do the ID command here, I am not in that, but then I can do su Mike, and I know that Mike's password is Sheffield19. So now I'm Mike, and I can do the ID command. I can see that I'm in the LXD group. So we have what we need to get started with this privilege escalation. If LXC is listed, then continue. Okay, so add this Alpine Linux container image from GitHub. Sure, I will do exactly that. So let's just grab do I need the tar version of it? Oh, I can just do a nice git clone. I'll put this on my host machine for now, because I'm sure that the box is probably not connected to the internet. So I can just do git clone, and then I have build. Okay. So he's just cloned it, and he goes inside of that folder, so go into LXD, and now share the image file to the victim machine. Okay, so Python 3 jeez, I can't spell today. Python 3-c, no, m, http.server, and then I do 1111 usually. It's so weird not having all my commands just preloaded, because I built a new PC, fairly recently, which means I'm not using my laptop anymore to do these videos. Really nice. Highly recommend if you can build a nice PC for yourself. Very good for the soul. Healed a little bit of my child there, inner child. Yeah, it's just weird not having my commands preloaded. So I've got my HTTP server open, and I'm guessing we now download it onto our box. Okay, yes we do. So what we have is we are in a folder we probably don't have access to, so I'm going to cd/home/Mike. And oh, we have user.txt. Completely forgot we're doing a CTF, and it has flags that you're supposed to get. I'm just having fun hacking the thing. So now we're going to do wget 10.10.14.2, and our thing was 1111, our port, sorry. And then we need to go and grab the name of our tar file, and our version is likely to be slightly different to his, so I'm just going to copy it from my own and grab it and put it in there. So now we're going to wget, we've downloaded it, very nice. So now let's see how we do this. Okay, so he says to now import this LXD container into the environment and give it an alias. Okay, so LXC, image, import, and then I think I still have it copied. I do indeed. -- alias, and we're going to call it privesc. And hopefully that won't be flagged by some kind of weird fake sock they've got installed, but I'm sure in the real world, calling something privesc is probably not a good idea. So we're going to run that command, and it seems to have worked. So now we've imported this LXD container into our environment. Very nice. And now we're going to do LXC image list to list all of our LXC images. And we can see we have LXD right there. Very nice. Okay, now he is saying to run the following commands one by one. So LXC init my image ignite C security privilege equals true. Now, we were actually answering a question, and that seems like what we need to do, or the flag we need to enable in order to get this to run as root or some kind of, or meet some kind of condition for privilege escalation. So security.privilege equals true is interesting there. And as we can see by the placeholder, that is the correct answer. So let me just copy that in, paste it. Very nice. Question number 8. If the root file system is mounted at the /mount directory in the container, where can the root flag be found on the container after the host system is mounted? So at this point, we're going to need to do the privilege escalation, and we're going to need to figure out and come back to this question. So let us begin, or let us continue. So he's saying to run the following commands one by one. So we are going to initialize, oh, hold on. Actually, I better type it out because we don't have a shell where I can go back and forth like that without doing some crazy commands that I really don't want to do for a starting point machine. So we're going to do privesc, LXC, initialize my box, privesc, and then ignite, I'm guessing is saying get it going. And then we're going to do security.privileged is equal to true. Okay, creating ignite. I'm guessing, okay, so maybe ignite is just what he's calling the box once it's on. So our image that we're building from is called privesc. In my case, it's called privesc. In his, it's called my image. And then I'm guessing the actual container or distro, once it's started, is called ignite. I could be completely wrong, but that is what I'm getting based on these commands. And I'm going to do LXC config device add ignite my device, and disk source is equal to /. So I'm going to have to search up these commands a little bit later. Maybe do some revision after this. I'll do it at the end of the video so you guys can get a better look at what exactly it is I search in order to get a better understanding of these. So anyway, source is equal to /, so the root directory, and then our path is going to be /mount/root, recursive equal to true. See if there's anything else over here. I think that's the end of the command. Okay. Oh, I did it wrong. So let me just type that again. LXC config device add ignite my device disk source is equal. Whoop, nearly got me again. Source is equal to / and path is equal to /mnt/root /mount/root. Recursive is equal to true. Try that. Okay, just copy his command. Easy. And I'm going to do LXC start ignite. Okay. Oh, and then inside of the container we're running. Okay, so LXC ignite exec ignite /bin/sh. That's going to give us a shell inside of our container we've just created. Very nice. Okay, so I'm guessing inside of this we are root. Okay, and then if we go to /mnt/root, I'm guessing we've rooted we have mounted the root of the host's file system. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So let's go back to this question. So we know that this is now mnt root. Very nice. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so that is a very interesting. Oh wait, incorrect task flag. Does it want a / at the end? It does want a / at the end. So I was correct, but it wants a / at the end. Cool. Okay, so I'm in /mnt/root. What am I doing wrong? Oh. cd/mnt/root. Go. Okay, so that's the host file system. cd root. And then we have the root.txt. Okay, very nice. So now I've got to submit the flags, which means you get to look at my beautiful face while I do that, and then I'm going to head back onto the screen, and we are going to figure out exactly why those commands work. So cat root.txt. Okay. Loud noise. Right, so we have completed this box. There it is. That is how you do that. So now I want to go back and I want to get a better understanding of why exactly that privilege escalation works and kind of have a little bit of a debrief. So let me get myself off my big screen because it's a bit weird to just have a massive picture of my face. Let's have a look. Oh, and funny thing, the Nmap scan didn't work. It just didn't. It didn't even find that we had TFTP. So I've got to go back and figure out at some point why that is. So we have LXD, which is like Docker, but I guess a bit more, you know, Linux based. Maybe it's like a default version. Maybe the people that made Ubuntu made this. Not too sure. Not super important for pushing my knowledge or my technical knowledge forwards. Excuse me. Not super important for pushing my technical knowledge forwards. So let's have a run through of why this exploit works. So in this write-up, we will cover how a member of the LXD group can instantly escalate privileges to root on the host operating system. So we are downloading a Alpine Linux container. Okay, that's fine. That makes perfect sense. We're putting it onto the machine. We're using the LXC command, which is available to users of the LXD group. And we are importing this image. Cool. We're then listing which images we have imported on the machine. Makes perfect sense. And then we're initializing an image and we're setting security privilege we're setting security.privilege to true. Okay. LXC security privileged. Let's see why this works. Privileged containers are defined as any container where the container UID is mapped to a host. Container UID 0 is mapped to the host UID 0. In the containers, protection of the host and prevention of escape is entirely done through mandatory access control, AppArmor, SE Linux, blah blah blah. Those technologies combined will prevent any accidental damage of the host, where damage is defined as things like reconfiguring hardware, reconfiguring the kernel, or accessing the host file system. Those containers aren't and cannot be root safe. They're still valuable where you're running trusted workloads. There are exploits which let you escape such containers and get full root privileges. Some of these exploits can be trivially blocked, so we do update our different policies once made aware of them. Some others aren't blockable, as they would require blocking so many core features that the average container would become completely unusable. So effectively, if you have access to that group, you can, if you have access to a user that's in that group, you can just escalate your privileges to root. Okay, that's cool. Like a bit more of a wordy explanation rather than just this is how you do it. Because this is just saying, make an image, make sure that security privilege is on so that UID 0 on your container maps to UID 0 on there, so that if you are root on the container, you're also root on the host machine. That's fine. And then what you're saying right here is you're mounting the root of the file system. Oh, sorry. So I'll show you it on my own box actually, because I'm having a bit of a hard time explaining it. So what you're doing is here, you're saying that you want to source the files that are going to be mounted to this container, and you're saying you want to take everything in here and then you want to stick it to this point on your container. So this is your host system, so everything in / is going to go to here. So I hope that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then recursive is equal to true is just saying go inside of everything, basically do a tree and just take everything in here and mount it to the box, and from there you're all good. After that, you're saying to start the box and then execute bin/sh, and that's just like use the command line on the box where we have mounted our root file system or our host file system, and that is why the exploit works. But I want to know a bit more. I want to see if there's any more information out there, because I understand it now. Introduction. This is what privesc is. So hypervisor tool for managing Linux containers. Okay, why does this work? So you have to be in the LXD group. Very good. How to exploit it. Check if there is any available storage. We didn't have to do any of this. This guy's really going into it, which means I'm quite excited to see if this guy gives us a really good explanation. Okay, here we go. So he's using the same command as we did here. He's saying LXC config device add test hack disk blah 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 blah. So let's go through it one by one. So LXC config device add a new device to the container's configuration. Cool. Name of the LXC container to add as the device. Okay. The name of the device being added, you can choose any name. Yeah, the disk, whatever, that's cool. Oh, okay, so he didn't even make a full container. He just mounted a disk. Okay, that's interesting. At least I think that's what's happening here. Source. This parameter defines the source of the disk device. Here it's set to the root of the host system, so we knew that. This parameter sets the path inside the container where the disk device will be mounted. In this case, it will be mounted at /mount/root. Cool, recursive is true, we knew that. Start the container. This is done. Oh, okay, so I pretty much had the best grip on it you could get. That makes perfect sense. Alright, I'm happy to wrap this up. I have a good understanding. I hope you also have a good understanding. That was a cool box. I used to find that privilege escalation really, really quite overwhelming because I never really took the time to sit down and understand what's going on. But now I get it. I do. I just understand. So what's happening there is we are just saying that we want to start a new container. We want to mount the host system at /mount/root, and then we want to make security privileged equal to true, which means that UID 0 on our host is the same as UID 0 on our container, and that means we have access to absolutely everything. Cool. Cool. I feel good. I feel good after that box. That was quite satisfying, actually. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I will see you in the next one.